All right, gentlemen, we are going to do a quick review of your do now. So let me grab a color here. Make sure that your paper looks like mine if it hasn't, if it doesn't already, okay? So a student's bank account balance is $25. And a balance means that's how much she has. She makes 4 deposits of $150 each, $150 each, and 6 withdrawals of $275 each. What is the new balance after the 10 transaction? The new balance, okay? So I have my key information box over here. I actually want to read through this again because I'm looking to find sort of the end balance, okay? And here up here we have the start balance, all right? And then we have the changes. And this is a positive change because the deposit means we're putting money there. And a withdraw means that we're taking money out. So this is negative change. All right. So in my key information box, I know that she has 25 is my start. 150 times 4 is part of the change. And then I have negative 275 times 6 as part of the change. And then I need to find what is the new balance? Where's my end? Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the deposits. Okay. Let me see if I can move this down a little. So let me put that in blue. For my deposits, I'm going to have $25 plus, and I did 4 times 150. All right. So when I do 4 times 150, that should be $6. Dun, 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 dun. Yep, $6. All right. And I add 25 to 6, and I'm going to get $31. Okay. So I'm at $31 here, and I'm going to move over to my withdrawals. Okay. So I have 31 minus actually, I'm going to do 31 plus, and you'll see why here. 6 times negative 2.75. Okay, so I'm combining still. I'm still going to have that negative. It's going to go down. So when I do 6 times negative 2.75, what I should get is $16.50. So I have negative $16.50. When I combine that, 31 plus negative $16.15, I'm finding the difference between $31 and $16.15, and that's going to leave me with a balance, 50 cents, balance of $14.50. So after those deposits, I am left with $14.50. All right, let's continue and take a look at number 2 on your do now. Again, if your paper doesn't look like mine, get it there. Your pen is my pen. Let's lose orange. The depth of a small submarine changes by negative 3.375 mile after each exploration. So that means it's going down. After how many explorations will the submarine's depth have changed by 1.5 miles? Okay. After how many explorations have changed by 1.5 miles? And then I have that 0.375. Okay. So I am going to do my KIB here. All right, and so that I know that the total change was -1 and 1/2 miles. Okay, and I know that with each exploration, we went down negative point 0.375 miles. Okay, and so my question is, how many explorations until I get to -1 and 1/2 miles? Well, first of all, we know that it's not fun to work with um, both decimals and fractions in the same problems. And since 0.375 is not an exciting one to turn into a fraction, we're just going to turn this into a decimal. So we're going to say it's -1.5, and that's where we're going here. And so I'm going to make a little t-chart. Okay, and so this one is going to be my number of explorations on this side, and then this side here is going to be my change. So with my first exploration, I go down negative. So I go negative 0.375. And again, I don't know where I started. So all I'm going to be able to figure out is how much I changed. All right. Now for my second exploration, I would add that 0.375 again, and I would get to 0.750. For my third exploration, I would once again add that 0.375, right? So plus, and then I'll do plus, or in this case, plus a negative. And I'm going to have negative 1.125. Okay, and then when I add negative 0.375 again, I'm going to end up with negative 1.5. So that's my fourth exploration. That's my ding, ding, ding number I'm looking for. So the answer is after 4 explorations. Great, gentlemen. As you see, we're moving down here to this stay sharp. And you're going to have to do some calculation without calculators on our IA. Book 1, we don't get a calculator. You are going to have a lot of integers thrown at you. You're going to have some fractions. You're going to have some distributive property. So really honing in and doing this the best you can is going to be super helpful. So take your 15 minutes and get started, and then we will come back and do a quick review. All right, gentlemen. So I'm only going to review one problem in each sort of section here. So I'm going to take a look at the second problem in this first row. I need to evaluate, and it looks really tiny to me. So 1/3 minus 2/5. Okay, I need to find a common denominator. My common denominator, I'm going to go ahead and say is going to be 15. Since I multiplied 3 by 5 to get the 15, I'm going to multiply 1 by 5, and it'll be 5 over 15 minus, and then here I have 5 times 3 to get me 15, so 2 times 3 will be 6, so I have 5 over 15 minus 6 over 15, which is going to leave me with negative 1 over 15. Take 10 seconds to fix that if you haven't already. And I'm going to take a look at the middle problem here as well. Okay, so here, this is where I need to make my decision about whether or not I want to work with fractions or decimals. So here I have negative 0.2, which would be 1/5 if I changed it to a fraction, times 1/2 minus 2/5. So I could change it to negative 0.2 times 0.5 minus 0.4. And in fact, nope, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it into a fraction, okay? Because I think we need a little more help with fractions than we do with decimals. Okay, so I have negative 1/5 times 1/2 minus 2/5. Okay, so first I have to work inside these parentheses. So my common denominator is going to be 10. So 2 times 5 is 10. So I'm going to have 5 over 10 minus, and then I had 2 times 5 is 10, minus 4 over 10. So I should get 1 over 10. Let me move down here a little bit. Uh, 1 over 10. So now I'm going to do negative 1/5 times 1/10, and I'm going to end up with negative 1 over 50. And I ran out of room a little bit, so that's why my answer's up here. So I have negative 1 over 50. On this line, I'm going to do the third problem. I have negative 0.5. And then in the parentheses, I have 2/5 minus 1/6. And again, we're going to continue sort of practicing these fractions. So I'll go negative 1/2 times 2/5 minus 1/6. Okay, so what's my common denominator between 5 and 6? 30. Okay, so we'll do, let me make that a little smaller so all of our work fits on here. All right, so we'll do 30. In order to get to 30, I multiplied 5 by 6, so 2 times 6 is 12. Yep, minus, here I have 30. I multiplied 6 times 5 to get to 30, so 1 times 5 is 5. All right, so I'm left with 12 over 30 minus 5 over 30, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, so I have here 7 over 30 times, all right, negative 1/2. And so I'm going to go, it's going to be negative 1 times 7 is 7 over, oops, I'll put the negative up here, 7 over 60. So my final answer here is negative 7 over 60. Okay, gentlemen, let's move down to see if there's any other kind of problem that you've not seen. Nope, I think we've covered it. So let's take a look at this practice down here. Let's take a look at our problem. The length of a side of a square is c minus 9. Which of the following represents the perimeter of the square? Okay, so when we have a square, okay, we know that all 4 lengths are the same. So c minus 9, c minus 9, c minus 9, c minus 9. Okay, so we're looking for the perimeter of the square. All right, and we know that perimeter is equal to, some will say 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Perimeter can also be equal to 4, excuse me, 4 times the side for a square. Okay. In this case, I'm going to say my perimeter is equal to, equals, let me erase this just so I have some room here. My perimeter is equal to 4 times c minus 9, okay? Because this represents the 4 sides and this represents one side. So I'm going to use my distributive property, okay? 4 times c is 4c minus, and then 4 times 9 is 36. So I have 4c minus 36. Let me go over here. This gives me 2c times 9. This would give me this much of the square. C times 9 squared would be the area. Okay. Negative 4c minus 36 is what I came up with. Not negative 4c, 4c minus 36. And 4c minus 18, I'm not really sure what happened there, but I'm guessing the distribution of the 4 was messed up. Okay, so this error was the most common error we saw on this problem, and it's just because the distribution of the 4 somehow got mixed up when we got to this 18, or when we got to the 9. Moving right along. All right, so we're going to name the error. Excuse me. And the error is that the student did not correctly distribute the 4 to both terms inside the parenthesis. And my key takeaway here is we can apply our algebra, to geometry if we know our formulas. And then my other key takeaway is, oh, actually that was it. I'm going to stop there. Okay, beep, 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 beep. Let's come right down here. You are going to do your data-driven practice, and then you have an exit ticket. And remember that we need to have our exit ticket starting 15 minutes before class ends at the minimum. All right. So you guys get started. Good luck, and I will see you soon. All right, gentlemen, let's review number 3 together before we move on to our quiz. Each of the 2 congruent sides of an isosceles triangle is 2n plus 7, and the third side is 3n. Okay, so congruent just means they're the same. Draw and label the triangle. This is definitely a task. If you don't do it, you'll lose points. Then write two equivalent expressions for its perimeter. Equivalent expressions for its perimeter. So I'm going to draw my isosceles triangle. It's not to scale. This is 2n plus 7. This is also this is also 2n plus 7. I'm not going to be able to draw it as neat as I thought. And then this side down here is going to be my 3n. And so my perimeter is essentially when we're adding all of our three sides together, okay? So I know that the perimeter is basically side plus side plus side. Perimeter of an isosceles is going to be 2 times one side plus the other side. I'll make it like a side prime. Okay, so we have our thing here. So how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to take a look at this one. 2 times one of the sides. So that's going to be 2 times 2n plus 7. So I'm going to go P is equal to 2 times 2n plus 7. All right, plus my base of 3n. So I have this here. Now, another way that I could look at this, excuse me, is I could combine, right? Another way that I could write this is sort of by distributing this and then combining, right? So I would be left with 4n plus 14 plus 3n. And then I could combine 4n and 3n, and that's going to leave me 7n plus 14. Okay, so this is one way to write it. This is another way to write it. I have these two equivalent equations that I can use for that. All right, get started on your exit ticket. Good luck.